specific names on them. I also have a few that are, they're mostly large and extra large, but if you're interested in one, the t-shirts are thank you for a donation. We also have some new card magnets that we're giving out as thank yous for donations. So we just really appreciate your contributing to the things that help us make these events happen. And just like Janet said, also to those of you who are contributing time, that is super important because it's a lot of work. And the more hands we have on deck, the easier it is for us to get things done. So thank you to those that are involved with your effort and your time as well. Sarah, you want to talk about some of this?
Thank you guys for coming today. I'm Sarah Roy, and I'm the events chairperson. And I would also like to introduce Margie. She is going to be helping me with events today. So we have a busy June. We had July 4th. We have the July 4th car parade, and then we have the Upstate Black Pride Festival that we had at Black. So that went really well. Last week on July 17th, we had the John Lewis Make Good Trouble event where we celebrated, the great legacy of John Lewis, and it was just a beautiful, amazing, event in the community, and we had some great speakers. So if you weren't there, you missed out, but it was really, really beautiful. And then this last Thursday, we had our social at Sunnyside Brewery. We had about 22 people there. So we're going to try to do these, maybe monthly, maybe every other month, but I think it was a good time just to hang out and get to know each other a little better and have a lot of fun. And as we talked about, we had our Unity Health on Main fundraiser. And the event that we had raised over $15,000, but because of our campaign and sharing things on social media, we were really able to get more community involvement, and they were able to raise over $200,000, and that means the big mistake. That was huge, and we're still going to try to do stuff with them because they're still going to need help, but keeping their doors open was a major thing. And here's a few more pictures from that event. So our upcoming events, this is just kind of a quick summary, and we'll have slides for everything else. But today, I guess, is the most important right now. This afternoon or this evening at 7 o'clock, we are going to have a pop-up protest. And here I'm going to go through all these and just go to the slides. Okay. All right. So in case you didn't see, on Thursday, a new executive order was signed in terms of homelessness, and basically it's going to expand the use of police and institutionalization to respond to homelessness, and it's going to prioritize funding that is going to treat homelessness as a crime. And we all know there's nothing illegal about poverty, and it's going to end housing-based solutions, and it's also going to cut off funding for life-saving programs like harm reduction. So in response to that, we're going to have a pop-up protest tonight. It's at 7 o'clock in front of City Hall. So if you can please make it, even if you can only come for like 15, 20 minutes, showing up is really going to make a difference. So bring your signs, bring a friend, bring lots of friends. And there's also a note here that this executive order is very similar to an anti-homeless ordinance that is going to come up for vote. So we're going to be protesting both of these, and there's going to be more details about that vote later. But if you can come tonight, that would be awesome. Next Saturday, August 2nd, we have a Defend Due Process Rage Against the Regime rally in Falls Park. There's actually going to be 2 events on Saturday. There's going to be one in Falls Park in Greenville at 10 o'clock, and then there's going to be one in Anderson, in front of the Anderson County Courthouse at 4. If you can come to both, that would be great, but at least please try to come to one. This is going to be, it's really standing up against ICE and the things that they're doing in terms taking neighbors basically off the streets and reporting them and all of that. And it's just, we really need to get out there. Our local sheriff has secretly expanded involvement in the ICE program without any public input or council approval. And we also have South Carolina officials who are considering building our own concentration camp in the state, basically our own alligator Alcatraz. And ICE is also using racial profiling to arrest our members, innocent and valued members of our community. So again, this is something we all need to be speaking out against and showing up for. And again, if you can make it to both events, that would be great. Yeah.
The item at Halls Park, is that up on the sidewalk level or is that down the floor of the park?
We're going to be down in the park, right? That's how the permit is set up.
Yes, we have a permit for the entire park. And I believe that we are gonna start like down in the park. But we're permitted to move around within the space.
And that's your plan.
Yes.
And we'll have plenty of volunteers who will help direct you and everything, so.
I was thinking about how hard it is to get up and down the stairs.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah. We'll help you with that. The question was, where in Falls Park is the event actually going to take place? Sure.
So, Miller Lewis did make an agreement to work with ICE. And I talked to Mike.
You want to speak in the mic?
Okay, so I have been in touch with my county council member about that agreement that Hobart Lewis made with ICE for training officers here in Greenville to detain immigrants until ICE picks them up. And so, since Hobart Lewis is an elected official himself, he does not answer to county council. So he did this without county council input or any of us.
For something a little lighter after all of these heavy topics, on August 6th, we're going to have a resistance and humor event. So it is going to take place at Cafe and Some, and tickets are going to be $20. You do have to call them to get your spot, reserve your seat. And when I talked to Erin yesterday, she said that it was about 50% full. So if you want to reserve a spot, do that. Dinner is at 6:30 to 7:30, and then the show will start at 8. And the proceeds are going to benefit Speak for Animals. And you can also we're also asking people to bring donations for Food Not Moms. But again, that's going to be on August 6th at 6:30, so that will be a lighthearted evening after, in the midst of everything.
Question. Do you have the address of that event?
For Cafe and Some, it's on Richardson Street in downtown Greenville. I can give you that address.
Okay, that gives you.
101 College Street.
I'm sorry?
101 College Street.
Okay, the address is 101 College Street.
Okay, so that's next to Metro Center.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And there's lots of parking. There's a parking garage and there's parking.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know where to park in there. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yes, ma'am.
What about the phone number to call and reserve the seat?
864-232-2287.
He's faster than I am.
Well, I wrote that down before the screen went by. I didn't get it.
Here. So the number is 864-232-2287.
Okay, we have been holding focus groups for June and July, where some of you have come in small groups and met with Cass and me, and you've asked for your input about things you like about what IOC is already doing, or things that you think that we need to They want easier access to event information, which we are working on. We have a website that is in progress, and once that is up and going, it will be really easy for you to get to that, and everything will be laid out, with dates and times and places, and you'll be able to see everything that's coming up. So that, we are working on getting that fixed. And more direction about how to get involved will also come hopefully with that website. It'll be an easy click for you to figure out, for you to enter your information and us to get in contact with you. I know that a lot of you have said, I want to volunteer, and then our growth exploded and a lot of that fell through the cracks. So we're kind of going back now and trying to restructure ourselves and really trying to make sure that everyone who wants to be involved has a space to be involved in the IUSC. I saw your hand up.
Yes, I'm from the Clemson area, and one of the things that I was noticing in your slides is that there was nothing there about what happened in Pendleton, and Clemson, and Anderson, except that when Anderson shot. My question is this, are you getting the information, and my request is that we have more information that is being told about what's going on in the others, because we're putting a lot of work into it.
Absolutely. So the question was about the Clemson and Anderson area. There is a Clemson area Indivisible that is operating, and they are doing a lot of really good work. We are getting some of the information from Clemson, and we can definitely work to add more of that in to what we are doing as well. But if you are in the Clemson and Anderson area, I also would encourage you to plug in with that group so that you have things that are more local to where you are.
There's also Pendleton and Seneca. They're both doing a lot. So, but it's all in that area, but they're different groups working.
Right.
I'd like for them to be able to get some exposure.
Absolutely. And if you ever know of something that you're not seeing show up in our information, feel free to send it on to us, and we'll be happy to publish it so that everybody that's on our list knows what's going on locally, so they can get to whatever is closest for them. For sure, absolutely. Okay, so Kat and Kelly are not here, and I will do my best to cover the information that they've been digging into for us. The big thing right now statewide is that the federal government has offered money to states who are willing to put up their own detention centers, like the one that has gone up in Florida. Nancy Mace has specifically said that she is interested in having one in South Carolina. Governor McMaster has said he is looking into the resources for us to have one in South Carolina. And obviously, all of us would wholeheartedly stand against having anything like what has been put up in Florida. The QR code that is up here will take you to a petition that was put together by the ACLU of South Carolina for you to sign to say that you do not want us to have a detention center in South Carolina. So we encourage you to sign that petition so that we have the most number as possible for ACLU to present to our state. Also, we have reached out across the state to other Indivisible chapters, and we are working on trying to put together a plan of action so that we can come together from groups all over the state and really make some noise together about not wanting this. So stay tuned for those plans. We're in the beginning stages of making those connections, but hopefully we will have something for you soon. It'll be something you can get involved in. That would be statewide.
Right now, there's 11,757 signatures, but obviously that's a fraction.
So she said right now there's 11,700 signatures on the petition, so definitely, we need way more than that. So put your name on it and share it with your friends so that, we can fill that petition up for the ACLU.
Can you hold that down?
Sure, absolutely.
Can I say something about sharing that I've noticed? I shared that petition on my Facebook, and it got the least traffic of probably any post that I posted on Facebook. So just so y'all know, if you hit it on Facebook, the algorithm is pushing it down. So DM it, text it, do things like that if you're going to share it, because Facebook is not blasting that post out at all, just so you know.
And you need a higher content, like 12,500 is their request, and you're 11,700.
Yeah, they keep changing that.
Yeah, I think they'll up the request as we get closer to the goal. But the advice given from Wells was to make sure you don't just put it on Facebook, but also text it out or DM it out, because it's not getting a lot of traction if you put it out on social media. Okay, this one is local to us. This is the Greenville City Homeless Ordinance. City Council brought this up back at the beginning of the summer. Enough of us turned out at the meeting that they punted the ball down the court and decided that they would push the vote to August 11th. I did hear from Laura Hay this morning, who is the chair of the Democratic Women, that she is not sure if the vote is even still on the table for August 11th. She hasn't seen the agenda yet, but her understanding is that it was potentially tabled, which would be what we want. But if you live within the city limits, I would encourage you to call your city council representative to find out if this is still going to be voted on the 11th. If we find out that it is, we'll send you lots of information about how to show up and how to speak at the meeting and all of those things. But basically what city council was setting up was an ordinance that would allow the city to criminalize homeless folks who are present on public property. So the first offense would be a warning, but then after that, it's going to be a fine or jail time, which we all know that if you're already experiencing homelessness, you're not going to have the money to pay a fine, which means that many of these people would end up in jail just for being homeless. So we're going to watch this carefully to find out if it is going to be up on the 11th, and we will let you know how you can turn out to stand against this if it is going to be voted on. There are several upcoming local elections. If you are in Spartanburg County, the sheriff's election is a special election, so it is coming up this week on July 30th. So we encourage you to make sure you turn out for that. I actually do not know a lot about the sheriff candidates for Spartanburg, but I can get you in touch with Catherine Harvey, who is in Spartanburg County and knows lots of information about the different candidates. I think there's maybe even a meet and greet that is happening before the 30th. So if you are Spartanburg County and you want that information, just let me know. I'll get you in touch with her. Yes?
Last I heard, there are a total of 9 candidates in the Republican primary, none in the Democratic primary. And on my way here, I saw a sign at an intersection that said there's going to be a candidates forum at Chesney High School at 6:30 in the evening on Monday the 28th.
Okay, so that was candidate forum, 6:30 on Monday
Yes.
at Chesney High School. We have all Republican candidates in the race, so go with your good questions and find out who is most aligned with the things that we would want to see happen in Spartanburg County.
All that information is based on just a sign I saw at an intersection, so I don't have any further information to verify.
Okay. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm not sure where that, July 30th came from, but thank you. So election day is August 5th, if you are, the primary election for the sheriff is August 5th. Oh, the 30th is early voting. Okay, so, thank you. Now that that is clear as mud, if you are in Spartanburg County and you need some information, you just be sure to reach out, and we will make sure we have the correct information for you. The Greenville City Council has 2 seats that will be voted on this fall. There's an at-large seat, which Tina Belgi is running for, and then Lillian Brock Fleming is currently on City Council, and she is running for re-election. So early voting for that starts October 20th, and if you are in the city limits, you need to go ahead and double check your voter registration. Make sure that you are registered to vote so that you can participate in that election, because that's this November. Most of our elections we're thinking about coming up in 26, but this one is this year. So check your registration to be able to participate in that one. Cass, do you want to talk about 1 Million Rising, or do you want me to? Okay. 1 Million Rising is an initiative by Indivisible National. It is a 3-part training series, and the first part has already happened, but we have the recording, so if you missed it, you can still sign up and participate. I will include a link to the recording in the next newsletter so that you can watch that. The next 2 trainings are coming up on July 30th and August 13th. The point of 1 Million Rising is to train us, to train others about how we can push back about what's happening. They're wanting to take everything a notch up. So instead of just calling your legislators and writing letters, how can we be non-cooperative and actually begin to get in the way? We are not necessarily talking about civil disobedience. We are not talking about anything that would potentially be illegal or land anyone in jail. We are talking about acts that would just clog the system and get in the way of being able to move forward and make progress. And so the trainings will give you ideas for things that could happen. One of the things that Leah and Ezra have said specifically is that this program needs to be very community-centered, because what is going to work in Los Angeles, California is not necessarily going to work in Greenville, South Carolina. That's why it's so important to get people trained all over the country. What they will ask you to commit to, if you are willing, when you complete the training, is to post a group of people. It could be at your home or at a coffee shop. It could be people that you are friends or acquaintances or co-workers with, but anyone that you think would be open-minded enough to hear the conversation. And in that group that you host, you would share the things that you learned during this 3-part training. So if that's something you feel like you could commit to, the link to sign up for the next 2 training parts will be in the newsletter. And they're both on Wednesdays at 8 p.m. But if you sign up for them, you will also get the recording. So even if you can't be online to the training live, you can still get all the information and participate.
A couple of things.
Sure.
I watched the first one, and one thing that it does that was very helpful, and it was actually make the case for why the protest worked, but also why other techniques and excuse me, I have Parkinson's and anyway, they talk about how compelling, necessary it is to react now. So it's highly motivating.
Yes,
I tried to get on to the one last Wednesday, and they said they were full up. So where do could you tell again where I can go listen to it?
yes, so I'll send a link in the weekly newsletter where you can watch the first training, but also on that first training, they said that they were streaming live. I know it was on Midas Touch, and yeah, okay. The other one was YouTube. So if you go to participate in one of the trainings and you can't get in, you can search for 1 Million Rising on YouTube, or you can go to the Midas Touch network and you can watch from there. You just won't be actually in the forum.
There were over 100,000 people that were on that call.
Wow.
And it is imperative in this moment that we figure out ways to get past protesting. Protesting serves a very distinctive purpose, but we've got to be able to mobilize those people who are showing up for these protests in order to really make a difference. You know, if we have 5,000 people in Unity Park one Saturday, but we can't turn those people into actors, then we can't really engage change here. So it is really important that we figure out a way to motivate people to do more than just have the visibility of a sign. Yes. Any one of us on the leadership team that's bringing up, come talk to us. We'd love to hear your ideas. All right, Cass, you're up. Oh, April. All right, April, you're up.
Hi, I'm April. I work with the volunteer management team. We are working very hard and we've come a long way in the past few weeks. We now have, what we think we have is a finalized onboarding process for volunteers. So when we have someone express interest in volunteering, we have a process for what happens next. And that process involves us contacting the person who signed up and holding a phone interview with that person. We think that's important because it gives us a better idea to make sure that you know what you're signing up for, what you want to sign up for, because we have tons of ways that people can volunteer. Some people have said they can only volunteer at home about an hour a week, and that's completely fine with us. So the calls do take a while to complete, somewhere between 20 to 40 minutes per volunteer. It kind of depends on how it goes, but we are working very hard to get done a backlog, and we're down to 50 on the backlog that we need to get through. So if anyone would like to volunteer for a sub-team, to contact these volunteers, come see me after the meeting. We have also created a very brief orientation training that we can send out to new volunteers once they're onboarded, as well as a volunteer handbook. Those things will likely be edited as we, transition or move forward, but we at least have those set up and ready and review them. And then of course we have the private volunteer intranet at Cass's work. I think that's it. Oh, is that what you received? Sorry, forgot. onboarding them, when we're trying to onboard them, some of them are a little, they want to help any way they can, but tracking legislation is a little bit scary. For some people, we need people on these teams that do things other than that. So, we need volunteer management volunteers for those specific teams, or graphic designs for those specific teams. That's just an idea. So, don't let the legislative process kind of scare you away from those teams if you're interested, because we can find something else which you can do on those teams.
One way to get involved nationally, if you have not already done it, is to download the 5 Calls app onto your phone. It makes it super easy for you to know what the current hot button topics are. It gives you direct contact with your representative, and it even offers a script for you to follow if you're not sure what to say. So if you want to be able to be involved with the things going on nationally and let our representatives know how you feel, the 5 Calls app is a great way to make that happen. We are trying really hard to create our own app that would be for South Carolina. So it would connect you to your local and state legislators. It would help you to identify hot button topics, and then it would provide you with talking points for those things. So hopefully we will be able to have that for you at some time. We're exploring whether or not we can bring all those pieces together to make that work. So, y'all send us good vibes and keep your fingers crossed. This is your calendar at a glance for everything that is upcoming that we already know about. As you well know, at this point, we are a reactionary group, so there's a good chance that things will be added along the way that are not already on here. But these are the things that we know you can already look forward to in the next couple of weeks. We have a focus group tomorrow with some open spots. We are meeting, how many open spots do we have? Okay, we have 3 open spots. We're meeting at 3 o'clock in downtown Greer. So if any of you are interested in participating, you can come see me or come see Cass, and we can get you signed up for that. And there will be a few more August focus groups. I'm trying to get these in before I go back to school in September. And we're going to do at least one Zoom option for those of you that it's not easy to get to an actual place to have this conversation. So if that would be easier for you, watch for that as well in August. Yes?
So what is the goal of the focus group?
The focus groups, so there's several goals there. One of the reasons why I decided to do that is because we went from about 15 members in January to over 1,000 members in March. And yes, that is wonderful. But in the beginning, I knew everybody because I was having conversations with them as they joined the group, and I recognized faces, and now I see you guys out at rallies, and I'm like, is that 1 hours? I'm not even sure. Are they in a different group? So part of it is that I really want to get to know you guys. Like, I really want to know who's in this group. The other part of it is that our leadership team meets, and we make decisions about how we should move forward and things that will benefit our group and actions we think we should take. But we're just a team of a few people that are trying our best to make decisions for the entire group. And so my hope with the focus group was that I could get some feedback from y'all about what you want to see IUSC doing, so that when the leadership team meets, we have your feedback, and we're not just operating as a team in a silo, but we know what the group as a whole is really looking for. Yes.
So are these focus groups Greenville centered, or are there gonna be groups that are gonna be like the Easley area, or the Anderson area, or out in the Comey area? Because, I mean, the other night at the social half of our table was from Higgins County.
Okay, right. So I will be honest, I have two children, and it's hard for me to like get really far away and have a piece of time long enough to be able to drive to the meeting and have the meeting and come back. But that is exactly why in August I'm planning to have a couple on Zoom, so that people who are a little further away and I can't get to you or you can't get to me, we can still meet and have the same conversation.
And I think what I was thinking was that it presents an opportunity for those of us who are in the business area and the Lincoln Hall, we get together and start to those conversations.
Absolutely.
We know each other.
Absolutely, yes. So that is true too, that those of you who are living further away from here, it would be awesome for you guys to be able to plug in with each other so that you know who's local to you, and then you know who you want to go have coffee with on the weekends or whatever. So getting you guys connected by geographical area is also really important. Yes.
How can I get on your email list, your regular, these things and other things?
We don't have them on a QR, do we?
Sign up sheet. There's a sign up sheet.
Okay.
Okay.
There is a sign-up sheet back there on the table. If you will write down your information, I will make sure that you get the link to sign up for the newsletter.
Okay, and you were also associated with some other organizations in town, right?
Yes.
I know Democratic Women and others, so
Yes, so Indivisible is in coalition with several other progressive groups in the upstate area. Together Greenville is one of them, which is different than Greenville Together, just so you know, those are two separate groups. But Together Greenville is one of them, We the People is one of them. Tell Them Tuesday, 5051 South Carolina, Our Revolution, Dim Women, the Young Democrats. Anybody? Okay, so together we call ourselves the Greenville Progressive Coalition. So if ever you see anything on it that says Greenville Progressive Coalition, it means that all those groups were involved in the planning, and that includes us and all of those other groups. We felt like it was really important that going forward that we present a united front, and that the more of us there are, the better. And so quite often you will see all of those groups together, especially at the rallies. We've all been planning for things like that. Any other questions? Yes.
I was gonna go back to the number of people coming to the rally, now like 5,000 at Unity Park. Is there someone gauging or capturing these people, their information so that we can contact them later to see what they thought or what they're thinking, if they want to join, or they are already members? Have you done that?
So, yes and no. We have a platform called Mobilize, and anyone who signs up for one of those rallies through Mobilize, we then have their information and we can respond to them afterward and say, get their feedback and offer to allow them to join Indivisible. We're also handing out information at the rally so that they can contact us to plug themselves in. But unless they receive something from us at the rally or they signed up on Mobilize, then we don't have a way to reach out to them afterward. But I would love for us to be able to engage more of those people.
And you mentioned this before, that if you sign up and can't make it, you always get follow-up. Like they'll either send you the link to the video or they'll send you what other actions you can take. So I
does help us if you sign up on Mobilize because it helps us to know like who's involved in what, and it helps us to be able to know who we might be able to reach out to when we need volunteers, and it also helps you, especially if it's a digital event, because you'll get recordings afterwards and things like that. So if there's a Mobilize link, we encourage you to use it. Yes?
I know we've had a little, sort of business card that has for certain organizations with the contact information. I don't have any of those right now, and I know that the last rally I was in, we came up with a very, they just been walking by and wanted more information, and I was like, oh. So, is there a way we can get some of those for when we are at rallies, we have in our back pocket and hand them to someone?
Yes. We are specifically working on getting some Indivisible business cards, so we should have those soon. And then also the coalition will be working on getting some more that have everybody's information on them. Yes.
This another question is, I just went on to the 1 million rising. Right now, they have 1,533,040 people signed up for that call.
That's awesome.
I just want to add that as far as political activists designee for Indivisible, why don't we just tap into some of the other organizations that already have someone filling that spotlight? The League of Women Voters, Lawson Whitman, she does this. She goes to Columbia, she sits in and brings her information and opinions back to the group. I mean, she does that for NAACP and probably a lot of other groups. So why don't we just plug in and let her? She's an expert. I mean, she is like the president of it. And so instead of having somebody else that might not be able to do as much as she does. She can travel around the whole state, it doesn't matter.
Send me her information and I'll reach out to her.
Okay. I have to add that she's very, very pretty.
Okay. That's all right. There are a few others in this group that are not like that. We're used to it. Any other questions from you guys? Yes.
I missed the event, last Sunday, it was at church, I think it was, so are we reaching out to a lot of faith leaders? Because I know that's becoming a bigger movement, I know there's one Monday, something.
Right, the Moral Monday happens, I think, every Monday in other areas, but I believe that was just the one time thing in Greenville, at least for now. I'm hoping maybe they will decide to hold that again. We do have one member who is really involved in the faith communities, and she's trying to help us make some connections. Also, the man who hosted the Road Hunt event on Sunday, Aaron and I are planning on meeting with him and another one from that crowd in the beginning of August, so that hopefully we can begin to forge some connections and do some collaboration on events and things like that. So hopefully it's coming. We're working on that.
What if we reach out where we go, then who would we get in touch with?
You could send them to any of us on the leadership team. That would be fantastic.
And that event was actually focused on African Americans.
Yes.
So I think we should look at that in the
Yes.
process.
Yes, that is definitely on our radar. Yes.
Was that Stacy Ellis who was running it?
Yes.
Quadro Campbell, thank you. I was going to say, I couldn't remember his last name. He's the one that actually, I believe, hosted the event. And so we are in touch with him, and then also, I believe he is connected to Stacy Mills, so we'll be able to make a connection
It
that
was at
way.
Stacy's church.
Right.
It's called the Pastors United or Ministers United.
Right.
And Stacy Mills is one of the pastors. They have several churches that are in that organization. And Quadro is helping out to go to churches and speak on things that are going on with them, especially this part about them not being liable to the IRS anymore, basically, if they take up the side on the political. text that they find us in a group like this. Now that's not the case. They don't have to worry about that, but they don't do it.
Yeah, I just, that acronym, I remember from being there, it says Pastors United in Action.
Yes.
It's the pastor group.
Right. For those of you who didn't hear, that was Pastors United in Action, and they are a group who are working for advocacy, and that we are working on making connections to be able to work with them for future events. Anything else from you guys? We appreciate so much that you came out today. Thank you so much for your involvement. We couldn't do any of this without all of you. So thank you for everything that you're doing. And if you have any questions, you're welcome to find an